I'm feeling a little nervous, butterflies in the stomach. It's a bit gusty outside. I wish it was, for first flight, I wish it was smooth, but it's not. What has happened today is a very similar story to almost exactly 15 years ago. So I'm going to tell you that story now because I've decided that the weather is not suitable for first flight, so it looks much more promising tomorrow morning. I do have butterflies, first flight, new aeroplane, that's normal. I just abandoned my flight then, and looking outside, you'd say, oh, what's wrong with that weather? Looks perfect. But if you look closely, above that yellow aircraft is the windsock, and it is blowing 15 kilometers an hour right across the runway. Crosswinds do not worry me. It's well within the capability of the aircraft, and I know well within the capability of me. But it's a first flight in a new aeroplane, and you want to stack up everything in your favor. And waiting, 15, 18 hours, I'm stacking things in my favor. The calmer the air, the more chance I have of learning about the airplane, getting accustomed to the airplane, getting used to the airplane. And then when I'm used to the airplane, then something like this wouldn't worry me, not this hard anyway, wouldn't worry me in the slightest. So, here's the story I was going to tell you. In 2008, I purchased an aircraft called a Zimongo. It's a motorglider, Rotax, 100 horsepower engine, and like the Sinus, is a touring motor glider, which means it is a touring aircraft that can also be flown as a glider with the engine off. And that was when we were living in South Africa, and I collected it from a place called Port Alfred on the coast, did my training, and flew it home. Well, I finished my training this morning. 1.5 hours flying time with Russell Langley in a wind that started at 15 knots and ended at 25, gusting to 30, and still managed to handle the airplane. So quite pleased with myself, really. And there she is. And I am now fueling her up for the trip to Cape Town, which will probably happen tomorrow. Siphoning fuel into the left-hand fuel tank. I'm going to need at least 2 of these to fill up the tanks. Well, here I am, sitting in my hired car in the rain at 43rd Air School because the storm front, predicted front, has come through, bringing with it. The wind is still about the same as it was when I was flying, maybe slightly less, but fairly heavy rain. There's the Zimongo over there, and my baby's getting wet, which is not very nice. That's me for an hour or so, I suppose, until the storm front passes. I've got some company in some sandwiches. I have a Coke, it's almost finished. I have some peppermints, which are actually for tomorrow's flight. I might start eating them now. And bought a chamois for the plane, and I'm just going to sit and wait it out because I haven't finished the refueling. I got about halfway, and then the rain came down, so I decided to stop. Right, it's 8:30 in the morning. It rained very heavily all night, but the front, and I've been into the house, I've looked on Kobus Botha's fantastic weather website, and we're right on the edge of the front. Well, the front's behind us, we're right on the edge of the trailing edge of the front. And if I look out the window now, sun is making its way through the clouds, and I can see a lot of blue sky. So the clouds here, it stopped raining, the clouds here are very, very thin, and there's absolutely no wind. Weather forecast at George is 6 kilometers an hour south-southeast, and Cape Town 25 kilometers an hour southeasterly. I landed yesterday in a 25 mile an hour wind. This is a 25 kilometer an hour wind. And so I think we're going to have a fantastic flight. I woke up at 3 o'clock and went back to sleep at about 5 with the butterflies. And I remember them from my earlier flying days. This is quite a big thing for me to be able to take off this still strange airplane, which is quite sensitive, certainly more sensitive than the Cessnas and the Sambas. It's like the Grob, it's a sensitive airplane, and travel cross country. Yeah, I deserve to be just a little bit nervous, but here goes. Well, I'm back on the ground again after about 1 hour in the air. Decided it wasn't worth pushing on. The hills started coming up, the clouds started going down. I got to about 20 or 30 miles west of Grahamstown, less than 40 minutes away from here. Decided no, but anyway, had a nice flight, came back, did a reasonable landing. So I've got a little more confidence in the plane, which of course helps, and we'll see what the weather does tomorrow. Well, it's the following morning. Beautiful clear sunshine. It's about 8 degrees, no wind, and we've got a clear VFR flight all the way. Looks very promising, full tanks. I'm ready to go. If ever there was a day suitable for doing this trip, it's today. I haven't touched the controls for 5 full minutes. We're sitting at 90 knots, we're still in the cruise. I'm approaching 4,500 feet and I have to level off here. So I'm going to do that quickly. I'm just going to do it by pushing the trim down. We're still going up, that's no good. It's amazing how sensitive this trim is. We are, we're going down very slightly, so that's about the trim there. And we're now climbing to 90 odd knots. And the day is fantastic. I can't go above 4,500 feet here because of air traffic. So I have to put the nose down. Just wants to go up. Amazing. How much lift these wings generate above 100 knots. Darlington Dam. That's level 6.5. We're flying at the moment. That change will have taken us 15 minutes. Took us 44 minutes to do that leg. So 6 minutes ahead of schedule on the first leg. And that's Darlington Dam down there. I've been looking at a map for forever. And my new track is 285 magnetic, which I'm on now. You can see a big peak ahead of me to steer towards. So now it's 665 and I'm sitting through. Which means we're almost 2/3 on the way home. Our next waypoint is Swelling Dam. It's been here for a very long time. It's approximately 2/3 of the way, and we use between 3/4 and we're still got between 3/4 and a half a tank to the left. So we will arrive at our destination with well over a quarter
vortex, which is probably about 1.5 to 2 hours endurance still of the aircraft. This will probably be the last talk to camera. I'm going to start concentrating now because I'm nearing home. We are probably 30 minutes from our destination.
So here it is on the ground after a 3-hour and 40-minute flight, of which 20 minutes was spent gliding near Swellendam, and that is the end of my little Zimango film.
Comfortable, hey?
I would be flying along and I would want just to get a little more speed, so I'd open the throttle and instead of going faster, I'd just go up. But I'd have to trim it. Every time I open the throttle, I have to trim it forward. Eventually it's just like this and this barrel fleets up. I'm going to get 145 knots. I double it. It's solid.
Kate? Oh, she's very nice, hey? Oh, this is so cool. You're basically lying down.
Common to all motor gliders, the Zimango has a long wingspan, 17.4 metres. The Pipistrel, a little less at 15 metres. But both have the problem with fitting into ordinary aircraft hangars. The Zimango wings fold. The Sinus's wings do not. They can be removed, but it's a 2 to 3 person job to re-rig the aircraft, something that I don't want to do every time I want to go flying. Good morning to you. It is the following morning. The wind is blowing even harder. It is almost straight down the runway, but it is gusting considerably more than it was yesterday. I don't want to fly first flight in really gusty conditions. So I guess all good things come to those who wait. However, I should add now, if I haven't mentioned it before, it is now 21 months since this aircraft arrived in Australia. And that's how long I've been fighting. All right, fuel off, off. It is 2 weeks later. I've come out really early. I camped out at bottom there. The wind has not ceased. Those 2 weeks. Okay, takeoff check, so we can do a startup now. I'm going to focus on the flying, not talking to camera. First flight needs my full focus. Flaps second position. All the way. See, first, second position, first position, neutral, positive. Foot on the brakes and crank.